Welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. Over the past 7 years, we've understood what matters most to you, the entrepreneur. And in year 8, we're taking head-on two of your most pressing concerns, that of funding and mentoring. I'm Sunanda Jaiseelan. Describing himself as a techie in the fashion industry is the new head of Myntra Jabong, Amar Nagaram. I caught up with him at their Bengaluru headquarters to ask him if the industry is increasingly moving towards becoming more technology dependent, what his insights are then for small businesses which are in this space, and what his advice is to stand out and have a USP. Listen in to part 1 of the special 2-part conversation I did with them at the Bengaluru headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show, and what I understand is one of the very few interviews that you've done since taking over. Pleasure having you here on this masterclass, talking to our entrepreneurs about how the e-commerce and the retail industry is changing and how, companies like yourself are really at the forefront of that. So maybe I can start by really talking about your personal journey. You took over at the start of the year over what has been a very exciting year for everyone in this industry. What's that been like for you?
Well, it's been phenomenal. It's exciting, humbling, and more importantly, a learning experience for me in last 9 months. I came from a world of technology, so I had a unique way of, or the technology way of seeing things. Now in the world of fashion, I'm actually blending a bit of fashion and technology together at every problem we are looking at right now. And in last 9 months, the amount of investments we made into fashion tech also talks about the kind of the run that I've had in last 9 months. And keeping consumer at the center has been the core of everything I've done in last 7-8 years between Flipkart and Myntra. But in Myntra, keeping a fashion consumer at the center of everything and applying the lens of technology on top of it and seeing the outcome in a much bigger way than I actually imagined when we started these initiatives is the most gratifying part of this journey so far.
Okay. When you're saying, putting the technology lens on fashion, previous interviews you've described yourself as a techie, as someone with a tech background who now is doing fashion. Is that the way the industry is heading? What through this interview would you really like to tell the small entrepreneurs who are watching this interview about what perhaps is the trend that the e-commerce, the fashion, the retail industry is taking?
See, fashion as an industry has always remained as a domain which has a lot of creativity in it. And there are multiple segments of fashion. For example, buying in fashion. It is always seen as an art. I challenge that. Okay. It's actually, it's an art, but it's also science. Okay. Which is where it is heading towards. The industry is going towards that. The fact that a lot of investments we have made into technology in last 8-9 months and the kind of outcome that we are seeing, and not just in terms of consumer experience, in terms of how brands are coming to us. A lot of brands are interested in a lot of tech investments we have made, and there is a request right now from a lot of brands saying, can we use this for our needs? So industry is also realizing the need of technology and the role of technology in the next big disruption that is going to hit the fashion industry. Okay,
let's talk about the journey that Myntra has really seen over the past couple of years. 2014 was acquired by this big global brand. 2016, Myntra acquired another brand, Jabong. Was that sort of essential, and how did the market really change after that? Was that sort of an inflection point for the industry and for the company, of course?
It was an inflection point of 3 things. One was e-commerce as an industry, fashion as an industry, and more importantly, the retail business in the country, the shift towards online, the shift towards the tier 1, tier 2 customers going towards the e-commerce led experiences. All of these 3 culminated in a lot of these journeys or the milestones we've had. Sure. If you talk about Flipkart acquiring Myntra, that was the first milestone in the world of Flipkart fashion, which clearly positioned us as the leaders of fashion in the country in the online space. And Jabong, when it came on board, it only amplified our positioning. And what remained core though, what remained core and what is core even today is how we are still keeping our USP relevant to our consumers, which is being fashion centric, being fashion forward, and offering the latest and greatest in the world of fashion to our consumers using technology. And that has remained the core, which is the reason why we were able to go through these acquisitions in almost a seamless way for us.
The industry has been changing so much. Would you say that going forward, M&A's consolidation is necessarily going to be the way of the game? And if you could also talk to our viewers to give them a sense that, you know, if you're a small business that's in this industry, and if you're looking at maybe consolidation, this is how you should prepare for it.
I don't think the world is headed towards a consolidation. Okay. We sincerely believe there's a lot of headroom for a lot of verticals, a lot of categories, even in lifestyle, okay. Right? I mean, there's a lot of deep user experience led innovations yet to happen in this industry. Mm-hmm. We are happy to be at the forefront of a lot of these innovations. My message to the entrepreneurs is understand your consumer, okay. And start with that problem. Solve a problem. Sure. That's how you stay relevant.
Sure.
Don't go after something which is not a problem.
So let's then look at the big picture, and I want to use the next couple of answers on this masterclass. If you could talk to our entrepreneurs about the 2 or 3 things that you think are really going to change the game. We are almost at the end of 2019. We're coming up on 2020. You started this interview by saying that fashion and e-commerce is no longer just an art, but it's become a science. What, sitting where you are some of the trends that you think are going to change the way things are being done?
The tier 2, tier 3 segment of the country is really coming up. I mean, it's becoming a very viable market for e-commerce like never before. Mm-hmm. It's going to come with its challenges, but it's also going to be very, very rewarding segment. So the entrepreneurs out there, whatever the problem that you're trying to solve, do not ignore tier 2, tier 3, because that's where the real growth is going to come from. And my only feedback or my only suggestion to the entrepreneurs is spend time with your consumers. Mm-hmm. Nothing beats it. No book is going to give you the knowledge than actually spending time with the consumers. In last 9 months, I've spent time in this new role. In my previous role, I used to do it in a different capacity, but in this new role, I've spent time with the 3 biggest stakeholders of Myntra: our consumers, our brands who work with us, and more importantly, our people, our employees. Every single feedback that came from them has been very, very helpful in coming up with the next strategy for Myntra, okay. Where we are headed. And that's going to be phenomenally useful, and that is one thing entrepreneurs cannot ignore, cannot keep it in their blind spot.
Sure.
The trend in terms of speaking, one is tier 2, tier 3. The second in terms of is the connected devices are actually becoming even more connected. Mm-hmm. There's a content play coming in. In fact, if you look at Myntra in last 9 months, we've also moved from catalog-based commerce to content-led commerce. Okay. You can actually see some of our product images now becoming videos. People are consuming more videos. Mm-hmm. You would be surprised the amount of video consumption that happens on Myntra is actually keeping us in the top 10 most viewed apps in the country, even though we are not a content app. Okay. That's how much window shopping is happening, and the video is actually driving that engagement. Mm-hmm. So understand how content can play a role in your business model, mm-hmm. and how you can offer that content, because devices and internet are actually becoming commodities today. Sure. So leverage that and see how you can use, and in fact content is one area where, like if you look at our product catalog today, which is video, they don't have any particular language in it. And which is also one of the reasons why it's helping us penetrate into tier 2, tier 3, solving the vernacular problem. Okay. So a lot of these things are coming to play together for the tier 2, tier 3 market. So content, the second thing is community. How do we bring people together? The community, I'm not talking about Facebook, Instagram kind of communities, but you need users. I mean, there are a lot of users who are like-minded. For example, on Myntra, we have a club called Myntra Sneaker Club. And we've, over a period of time, we've created a lot of activities, engagements around that club. Now the users have become a loyalist, not just to Myntra Sneaker Club, but Myntra, and now they're actually ambassadors of Myntra. Okay. Like if anybody talks about sneaker anywhere in the country, Myntra actually is mentioned. When there was a recent NBA game that happened in Bombay, and Myntra was at the center of everything, because NBA and sneakers kind of go together, and we were at the center of everything. Sure. So try to see how you can bring the communities to become the ambassadors of your brand. And the third thing is, depending on the industry you're in, for example, I'm speaking on behalf of fashion. Fashion is actually going away from marketing-led purchase cycles to influencer-led purchase cycles. There are influencers across the country where we are trying to bring them together, again using technology, content, and communities, and having this, it's not the voice of authority, it's the voice of expertise with a friendly tone that is helping influencers and consumers connect at an emotional level. And these are the things that is happening with the tier 2, tier 3. I believe regardless of your business model, if you keep these things at the center of your consumer experience, you have better chance of penetrating tier 2, tier 3 than any other segment.
All right, let's slip into a short break on that note. Much more when we come back on this masterclass with the head of Myntra Jabong. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. Tonight, we're bringing you part 1 of a 2-part special masterclass with the head of Myntra Jabong. You're talking about the strategy and why tier 2 and tier 3 markets are really so crucial for anyone who's in this industry. This is a 2-part question. And the first part is to talk a little more in depth about what specifically you are doing when it comes to these markets. You're saying vernacular, for instance. You're also saying content and why it's so crucial for you. Is content in vernacular languages becoming big? And the second part of that question is for a small business which says, yes, I understand vernacular languages, but I don't have the bandwidth, I don't have the resources, I don't have the money. How should they tackle this?
Sure. Let's talk about the video, the role of content and the role of vernacular in tier 2, tier 3. The video consumption has actually skyrocketed in tier 2, tier 3 markets more than tier 1 markets. And thanks to the device becoming a commodity, thanks to internet becoming a commodity, and this is one of the most consumed media today in the country. And what we are doing, and I'm speaking from what we have done in last 9 months, we've switched our catalog to video. The amount of time users spending on the Myntra app has actually gone up 5x. Now we are actually one of the most engaged app in the country. We are only 3rd after Facebook and Instagram in terms of time spent on the app. And if there is one thing we need to attribute that to, is the amount of attention to detail we've given to our cataloging. It's video, and even the video has a script to it. These are not the videos where a model is walking the ramp. It's very utilitarian videos where if it is a shoe, we actually show what is the stress the shoe is taking when you're running, when you're bending, when you're actually folding, so that people know what is the actual purpose of this shoe and they know what kind of shoe they should be looking for. The second thing, speaking of vernacular, there are 2 ways to address this. One is going all languages, which is almost a non-trivial thing these days. The second way is the way we have actually taken. Our videos do not have any language in them. The script itself is the language. For us, the reason why we had to bring content onto our platform is we want users to not only find their inspiration, but also if they decide to act on it, the distance to redemption in our world, which is basically, I like this dress and now I want to buy this dress, you should not go to 10 different places. You should be able to see it on Myntra. So that's how we're trying to bring all of this experience together.
So, continuing on the track of you really giving advice through this interview to small businesses, I want a hygiene check for small businesses. Maybe 2 or 3 things that you're seeing small retailers doing that you wish they knew about, that you wish they had maybe mentors to say, don't do this, it's actually hurting your business.
Small retailers, the luxury they don't have is the scale of data that we get to look at. And it's actually, it's a stage that every small medium business has to cross. Sure. But I'm seeing the industry coming together. There are a lot of players that are coming together to share their learnings, and Myntra has always been one of them. I mean, there were a lot of ex-Myntra employees who went out to start their new ventures, and they're still connected to Myntra. Okay. We share our learnings. We don't want the industry or the new upcoming entrepreneurs to make the same mistakes that we did 7 years, 8 years ago. We want the industry, the entrepreneurs, to learn from where we are and take the baseline to the next level and keep taking it forward and forward. And that, we believe, is the key for the entrepreneurs to succeed. And the second thing is the consumer understanding, right? I mean, there is a scale of consumers and there is a consumer understanding. When you are small, you tend to go inside out view. like this is the product that the industry needs, rather than actually because you're in a rush to launch a product.
Sure.
It's time well spent. Take the step back and look at the industry, look at the market space, look at your consumer, and ask the right questions. It's always the questions that are harder, not the answers.
Okay.
Once you ask the right questions, you will find your USP, and once you find the USP, it's only one way.
Okay.
Because when you don't have an USP, then you are going to deal with a different problem, which is focus dilution.
Sure.
Then you'll be trying 10 things.
Okay. While you've been talking about why technology is so crucial for you at Myntra, and it's at the heart of everything that you do, technology is also, in some sense, brought the whole of India together. India may be unique, I may be wrong in that, in the sense that any industry you look at is a very fragmented industry because most of your small businesses are in the offline world. Is that an opportunity or a challenge for a business like yourself?
It is, very honestly, and you're right. Technology is one of the very unifying factors for this country in a very, very long time. Thanks to mobile penetration, thanks to internet becoming an affordable commodity, the amount of knowledge a tier 3 person is sitting with is not significantly different from somebody in tier 1, which we believe is going to change the face of this country, which is why almost every country other than, outside of India is so excited about India as a market.
Yeah.
Coming to the challenges that the offline businesses have today is, right, it's not just they don't want to, they don't have, not all small medium businesses have the levers to embrace the technology the way they should for them to actually connect the market around them. I'll tell you examples of how Myntra has done business in last 10 years to what we are actually looking at. What we have done so far and established as the leading fashion platform in the country. What we have also realized in last 10 years is there are certain problems with respect to the industry that are yet to be solved. And like I was saying in the beginning, buying, I'm not the first person to say it's not art, it's also science.
Yeah.
But there are not many solutions out there which is helping the buyers to do an educated call. And there is this very famous quote from one of the founders of a very, very established fashion company. You give 5 styles to 5 buyers and ask them which style is going to perform next season, you will get 5 answers.
Okay.
And that's how the buying has been, right? The way we have applied technology, and we are applying technology, is we're trying to understand the consumer. We're starting with the consumer. What's really happening in the world of consumer? Because that's where it all starts. And we're trying to make sense out of that demand and trying to see how we can influence the business. Just simply put, there is a particular trend that is trending because a celebrity wore it to an airport last night, or there is a movie coming out in which a particular color is being used. When these are being done there, the industry for a very long time did not connect the dots.
Sure.
The industry went and produced what they thought would sell, and there are external factors that are happening. So as a consumer, the consumer is torn between there is an external trend and there is what industry is doing.
Sure.
What we are doing using technology is we've invested into our data sciences where it's a computer vision led solution which is looking at the social platforms, which is looking at all the blogs to see what's really trending, what is that people are viewing most, what is that about that dress that people actually like.
Okay.
Now the collection that we are actually getting onto the platform is in line with our consumer demands. This could have not happened without technology because the kind of data we are processing was not possible before.
We've been talking so much about data, and when we have conversations on data with experts in other industries, they give us to understand that monetization of that data is perhaps one of the big opportunities small businesses should look at. Would you agree? Is that true of your industry as well?
Yes, agree, but it has to come with its guardrails. The data, so there are 3 problems to the data. One is the data sanitization, because the way we are producing data today, there's a lot of noise also coming in it. So there's a data sanitization. Then there is a data governance to be in place. We need to be very sure about what data that we are going to leverage for our needs versus there is a consumer privacy to it. And that is the important thing about any monetization on top of data. And third thing is how is the data being put to use. As long as one is clear about how the data is going through these 3 stages, then there is a tremendous opportunity. For us, all the insights that we look at today, especially from the product thing, the user at the center of it is completely anonymous. we don't actually look at what a user A did, what a user B did. We actually look at how is a user in a particular time, in a particular timeline has behaved on our platform, and we try to actually extrapolate that behavior to understand what's really happening with our consumers.
So one of the busiest periods of the year for anyone who's in this industry is the festive season. What has that really been like for you? Can you run us through some of your insights?
It's one of the most, for us at Myntra, it's one of the most gratifying moments, because the kind of rush that we go through before the sale starts and the kind of responses we hear from customers after the sale, it just pays, one thing pays for the other. There are so many sleepless nights and weekends that the team spends to make sure the entire thing goes without a problem, and then when the sale goes through, the consumers are delighted to have the best, the latest and the greatest at the best value. And more important, and this festive season has been very important for us from a different way. We as an organization has also started moving away from discount-led proposition to value-led proposition, and that value is actually a function of many things: consumer experience, the best curated selection. That also drove the perception of the platform and also led to the higher sales this time. On top of it, on the last mile delivery side, which is basically the only touch we have with our consumers, we're adding a lot of fashion specific services. This time we've done alteration services, we've done experience centers, which is giving tremendous feedback from our consumers. They're loving it. This is one employee from Manata Tech Park who wrote to me saying that earlier it used to be a problem where if the Myntra delivery is coming, I have to look at my calendar 7 times. Like, where is my 10-minute window where I can go find the delivery guy? Now I know for a fact that it is in the experience center and I can go pick it up anytime I want. And more importantly, I can try it right then, right there. If there is some fit problem, there's a tailor sitting, I can get it fixed. These are the mails that actually make our days.
Sure.
So, just talking about the sale also, the holiday season, right? The festive season, we've registered a growth of 60% from last year, just this 5 days. And that's phenomenal for us, and this whole business is growing in a very sustainable way for us, with the right propositions being put forward. At the core of it, the reason why we were able to do this kind of switch is because of the technology investments we made.
All right, that's our show tonight. Much more coming up on part 2 with Amar, where he's talking specifically about what he feels should be the strategy of the retail e-commerce industry, as well as what he thinks on consolidation. That's in part 2. Our contact details coming up on your screens in just a moment. As always, do let us know what you thought of part 1. Have a good night. Thanks for watching.